All right, it's March 8th, and we're taking the T-Rex 550X out for its maiden flight. I let the FBL initiate over on the flight stand. Just going to test the controls. Left is left, right is right, forward's forward, back is back. We'll check the tail. Left is left, right is right. So the remote controls are good. Now I'm just going to check the FBL corrections. So we're going to tip it to the left and it tips left. Tip it to the right and it tips right. Tip it to the left, it tips left. Forward, it tilts back. Back, it tilts forward. So we've got our FBL corrections are correct on the cyclic. We'll check the tail. They should counter the movements. I push it left, it should counter, and it does. Push it right and it should counter right, and it does. So our FBL corrections are correct. Our remote settings are correct. All right, we got about a 10-mile-an-hour wind. Got it in hold with normal mode. I got it in stability low angle on my remote, the 2 position, which is sport on the flight controller. And here we go. Turn hold off. We should see our blades snap to 35 degrees. And they do. It's in normal mode. Very smooth. Very smooth. So it's in sport mode right now. So it's 70% throttle. And everything looks good. Helicopter is, all the gears are quiet. Everything seems to be good. Check the tail correction. Rudder response seems to be good. So what I'm doing is just giving it a rudder input and then stopping, and to see that it stops where I stop. So I'm going to kick it to the left here, and it stops where I stop. So the tail looks good, behaving as it should. No issues there. Everything seems to be going good. It's at 70%. Now I'm just checking the cyclic controls. Left, right, forward, back. Everything is the way I like it for normal flying. It's kind of docile. I'm in the sport mode in the flight controller, and I'm at 30% expo on my remote. So very docile settings for this helicopter. Just basic flying around type of setup. I'll go for a little tail whip. Oh, and it's handling good. No glitches, no. See if we can get a little more speed out of this one. So we're going to a loop this time, see what we get for G's. Now I gotta say, I was 100%. Now I'm gonna pull it backwards and see how the tail responds. We've got about a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing at it as it's flying backwards. Just a very slight wag there. Now in those sport controls, with that expo in the remote, I was at 100% to do that loop. And obviously it wasn't very tight. So we're gonna bump it up to stunt 1. We shouldn't see any change because it's a 70% as well. So now we're in stunt 1, but what we do have now is fixed 70% throttle, and we have negative authority. So let's flip it upside down and see how it handles the negative. Give it a little height. And good, handled it good. Flew upside down, certainly made the transition pretty good. Now I gotta tell you, for 70%, it's a little slower than I expected. And maybe that's just the 6S versus the 12S in the 650. Again, we'll roll it over. Okay, I gave it a little more authority that time, and sure enough, we were getting a negative climb, which is what I was shooting for. So this is 70% stunt 1. Let's bump it up to stunt 2. We should see an increase in speed. Now that Align BLA 100 makes that transition very smooth. We should see more authority now when we flip it over. Oh yeah, definitely much more negative authority flipping it upside down at 80%. There's our 5-minute mark. Gonna bring it in. So the maiden flight went good. Everything seems to be smooth. We're back down to normal mode. I'm just gonna land it on the boards in normal mode. Pull it into hold. So there it was. That was the maiden flight. We flew it in normal mode. Did a little bit of, did a couple tail whips out there and a couple, what I would call almost low to medium speed passes. I mean, I was not trying to put any speed on it. So we'll see what we get for numbers on that. I'd estimate my battery is probably sitting at about 35–40%. Because I only flew it for 5 minutes. Now that's a 4500 battery that's in it. Everything else is the complete package for the Dominator 550X package. There's no changes other than the Icon flight controller, and then it's got a 4500. It's got a 4500 pulse battery in it, 4500 milliamp, and then we're flying the Birdsong mount here, camera mount, GoPro mount, and of course capturing our telemetry data. Now I won't have access to that data until I run it through the telemetry program, and we'll see what it's putting down for speed. So there it was, maiden flight. I mean, it flew really good. It was kind of smooth, no hiccups. I'm gonna get my little 1.5 millimeter wrench out and just check my bolts and make sure nothing came loose in my tail, and I will put another battery in it and take it back up. All right, so I got the helicopter on the bench. It's ready to go. I've got the remote turned on. It's in hold mode. Battery's installed. We're gonna plug it in, let the FBL initialize. Wait for it to do its little dance. So there we go, the FBL initialized. We're going to take our canopy and put it on. And just real quick, we'll check this. Cyclic controls, back, forward, left, right, all good there. Left is left, right is right, forward's forward, back's back. Left is left, right is right, and on the correcting correctly. Okay, so remote is bound up, all good. Helicopter stabilized. Take it out for flight number 2. And I'm going to test out the stabilization real quick. While it's in hold mode, I'm just going to give it a pull. It should go perfectly level.
Self-level.
And it's perfectly level. All right, so here we go, flight number 2. It's in hold mode in normal, sport. We're gonna turn hold off. We should see our blade snap to about 35%. Boom, and there they go. So we're in normal. We're gonna raise our throttle up. There it goes. So I'm gonna bump it into stability high angle. So this is the, I believe it's the acrobatic. So this is the acrobatic setting on the flight controller. It's in normal mode. Definitely a little more responsive. Got a pretty good wind going out here. Do a loop. Now you can see it's in acrobatic, and that loop was much tighter. We'll check the G meter on it when we do the telemetry data. I'm guessing about 6 Gs. Do one more loop. So far it's really handling good. I'm gonna pull it in backwards, keep an eye on that tail. Look good, the tail stability is good flying backwards. Bump it up to stunt 1. No change in RPM. Take it up and get it inverted. Give it a little height. All right. Yeah, that was robotic. No issues there. There it is. Boy, what a beautiful helicopter. Let's roll it over, see if we can hang it up a little. Whew. So we go up to stunt 2. We're gonna now I'm gonna bump it to 3D on the flight controller. So this is what I call agility mode. I'm gonna go back to stunt 1, but I'm in agility mode now, and roll it over and see how I like those controls. Oh yeah, they are definitely, unquestionably more responsive, and for doing the inverted flight, I would definitely prefer the agility. That wind is really kicking up. So we're back in stunt 2. That wind is really picking up out here. So we're in agility mode, stunt 2. There it is, hung right up upside down. Whew, man. That was very easy to get it inverted and hang it up. I could have stayed there longer. An agility mode on the flight controller and stunt 2 on my RPMs throttle curve. Oh yeah, I definitely, that's getting moved over to the mode switch because you definitely want it in 3D mode on the flight controller when you're doing that inverted stuff. There it is, inverted. So there's the 5-minute mark. It is rather cold out here, about 28 degrees. Going back to normal mode, and we'll do a little mini auto here, see how that goes. So it's perfectly smooth. We're in hold mode. Did a little mini auto rotation there, and that went really well. No surprises. So just remember on the mini autos, if you're gonna kind of slide the helicopter when you land, these little rubber feet can cause you trouble. Yesterday when I did it on the pavement, it kind of jumped and you run the potential of rolling the helicopter over. Now I was just coming straight down and landing in grass, so I wasn't worried about it, but just keep that in mind if you're going to do auto rotations and you're planning on kind of sliding the helicopter along the ground a little bit. I would recommend removing those rubber stoppers. All right, so here we are for flight 3. We've got our remote on, throttle down, hold on, normal mode. Looks like we've got it up in 3D, which is fine. I'm gonna check really quick and just see what I've got. 30, 20, 10 for my Expo. All right, so we've got our remote turned on. We've got our helicopter ready to go. I did a little post-flight inspection. All the screws look good. Nothing came loose. Little between flight. We're gonna plug. We've got our remote, throttle down, hold switch on, normal mode. Plug it in. Gonna wait for our swash to do its little dance. Wait for our FBL to initialize. So there it goes. The only time I've ever had any trouble with this is I've had a helicopter sitting on the tailgate of my truck, and you know, you got the ridges there and it was initializing and it must have moved a little, and sure enough when it went to fly, like, will it affect it? It absolutely will affect it. As soon as I went to fly it, it was like something wasn't right. You want it on a flat level, as flat and level a surface as possible while that FBL is initializing. What I'm going to play around with a little bit is the self-leveling.
Self-level, normal mode.
So it...
Self-level, normal mode.
Okay, so to check the self-level, what I'm doing is moving the swash a little bit and then flipping the self-level.
Self-level.
And it takes over and gets a little more aggressive and levels it out. When I flip the self-level, when the helicopter is not level, I want to see it take over like that. Then we turn it off and it kind of goes back to normal. So that's how I know the self-level is bringing the helicopter to level and it's set up right. Bailout on the FBL. I have the, or I'm sorry, rescue. That is the rescue setting on the FBL. There's not a rescue vocal in the remote, so this says self-level. It's the same thing. So I have rescue activated when I flip this switch, but not bailout. So no bailout right now, just rescue. It'll just level. And then I'll play with the bailout after I get comfortable with using the rescue. So hook this up. Got it in normal mode, it's in hold. So again, when we come out of hold, we should see our blades snap to about 35%, and they do. That wind is only getting worse. So I want to play with the rescue a little bit. And so what I'll do is just, it's in normal flight mode. I'm going to kind of get it a little sideways and flip rescue. Rescue now. Rescue now. And you see it snap right up. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That is definitely cool. It's definitely cool. So let's try it again. We'll bring it in here. I'm gonna get the helicopter a little sideways, and we're gonna flip rescue. Ready? So get it sideways and rescue now. And now. And you see it snap right up. Now while the level is on, it's constant. As soon as I let off the controls, it self-levels. Right? So right now I have self-leveling on. So you could see when rescue is not on, you know, the helicopter can just move around like it's moving right now, right? And so here's the helicopter flying in normal mode. Rescue's off. Kind of give it a command, it'll sail sideways. Rescue on, and it levels. And the weird part is when you give it commands, as soon as you let off the command, it's attempting to level. It's definitely different. So now if we're flat and level, I'm not even sure here what's going to happen. It's flat and level. We flip self-level, very little happens. So let's get it up just a little tiny bit. We'll get it sideways and do it one more time. Get it sideways, self-level now. Self-level now. And you can see it just leveled itself. And that is rescue on the flight controller. I've had, you know, pretty good 2 sessions here. This is the maiden flight, so I'm not gonna mess around with it too much. Well, what a beautiful helicopter. Just gonna practice hovering it sideways for a minute. Whew, is it cold out here? So there's the 5-minute mark. I'll bring it in. So it's in normal mode. We're gonna do a little mini auto. Try to get a good cover, good film of it. Do a little mini auto. Whew, whew. The wind got it there at the end. I almost touched those blades down. Oh man. Whew, boy, I'll tell you, that was a ton of fun. You know, I'm no team pilot. You know, I have very average flying skills. I've built a handful of helicopters. I didn't really have any problem with the build. If you haven't built a lot of them, take your time though. Make sure you Loctite everything. And what a ton of fun to fly the thing. I have very conservative settings in it. This helicopter is capable of much higher performance than what I'm doing. I'm just doing the basics and flying around. I tell you, I'm having a ton of fun doing it. I can't wait to, you know, get a little better and push it a little farther. But for now, I'm having a ton of fun just flying it around the field and doing some tail whips and inverting it up and down, you know, upside down is plenty exciting for me. But there it is, T-Rex 550X, ton of fun. Maiden flight today. It flew absolutely great. Didn't find any loose screws or anything in the first two post-flight checks. I did do a little hover test near my house, so it's not like it's never flown, but that's all the other flights were hover tests. So today I finally got a chance to get out to the flying field and do a little bit more with it. T-Rex 550X, absolutely love it.